So this is fresh off, I guess, the presses, right? Where the dunk contest is a couple hours old. Mac McClung having some pretty good dunks, and that's really it. It's a great experience when you watch the YouTube highlights of the cut up on the actual attempt that goes in. But otherwise, it's been on a decline for a while. And Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon, many years ago now, had some really good dunks. But even then, you could make a case and say that competition still had some lulls because there were two other competitors in those competitions, but you just don't see it. So everyone always has a guess. How do we fix it? What do we do? And I'm not necessarily saying that this is the fix, but I am going to plug something. I'm going to put it in the chat for you right now so that, when the bio comes out, you can help out. But there's a YouTube series called Dunk League. And in each one, maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, but for those that haven't, they have different challenges. So some of them are as simple as using props, right? But there's explicit instructions on what you're supposed to do with those props. Some are just raising the rim. Some are kind of like horse challenges, so to speak. But I think what you want to do is you'd want to have these four competitors go through a couple of different challenges before you get to the finals pro. So the skills challenge has been reverbed into, the shooting round, the passing rounds, the course round. And I think you could do the same with the dunks, right? So what you could do is you could have the first round be like the windmill round, the second be the lob round, the prop round, and just put a little bit of structure to it because I don't know if players are struggling to come up with these ideas because you see, Jericho Sims is probably the best one I have. He used a prop of putting 50 in an envelope, but I think if there was more structure with that on the day of, hey, like we're all going to use a prop chair, for example, it just forces that creativity on the fly. Um, and then each round has a little bit of weight to it. I personally feel like in the past, we've sometimes lost a good competitor because we have to get down to the final two of the format. And perhaps this is a way to help it just a little bit. You hear constantly about bringing in the big names for that. And I think that that is good in theory. And then if we ever actually pull it off, you're going to notice that the same issues appear where we've seen these dunks before or it's not that interesting. So Dunk League is potential, right? Not about bringing those dunkers in, but just about the structure of the comp or even like a dunk horse. But, they've shown a willingness to change almost everything else about All-Star Weekend, right? And funnily enough, the dunk contest seems to be the weird relic that they're holding on to. So that's my pitch for solving the dunk contest, but maybe you've got your own input.
I think I think you're right about the dunk contest. Was a bit underwhelming this year. Look, you know what, Mac McClung was definitely a highlight over Obi Toppin last year. that was that was very disappointing last year from in my opinion, I guess. And I guess how can you make this more exciting? And I'm gonna go another way here. Look, don't get me wrong. I've seen a few of the episodes on Dunk League, and it's pretty cool. They got some high flyers there. But maybe that's the part because we've already somewhat opened the door here by inviting Mac McClung to actually participate this year, and he wasn't on an NBA roster until a few days ago, and he was an invite effectively from the G League. And I know that obviously the NBA continue to sort of integrate the G League and the players into these sort of events to really showcase their talent. Why don't we go this a step further and simply just invite or try to bring down the best dunkers in the world? Um, I think you could really open this up in another way, maybe through social media and stuff like that. They already utilize that through the All Star votes and stuff. That it doesn't matter whether you're an NBA player or not. That we want four of the best dunkers in the world to bring their unique creativity. So I think that's the part that maybe would be lost if you were to set them challenges. So if you bought the four best dunkers in the world that people wanted to see. Okay, so you could obviously give a level of fan participation on voting who you want to come down and actually participate, and really just dunk it off. Because I don't think we always talk about for years like, oh, it'd be great if I don't know, Ja Moran entered the dunk contest, or could we get Aaron Gordon back in there and stuff like that. But these marquee players, these all stars, they have no real interest because it's a bit of a risk effectively, for them, and that it's not really any payoff for them to necessarily be crowned sort of dunk champions. So I think I don't know, that's my quick thought here. Obviously, you just threw this topic on the table right here, but why don't we just open it up and bring the best dunkers down there, and let's see the best dunkers dunk it at the All-Star weekend.
Well, there is already like quite a big professional dunking, I guess, scene around the world. So you're right, it could bring some, I guess, much needed publicity to that and to, I guess, a more connected basketball world. But I guess from a purist standpoint, it's an NBA dunk contest. You want NBA players competing in it. I think I think the big thing is you want competition, right? So even watching the 3-point contest, it's about getting to a total score. But what if it was like a 3-point contest where two players start on both corners and rush to the middle? And there's an aspect of, there's only a finite amount of balls. So, there's elements there. I think you want competition. You want two people directly going at each other at the same time. So I'm not saying you can have two people dunking on the same ring at the same time, but you almost want to have a pair of dunkers out there. One goes and then the other goes. Because I also think one of the things about the dunk contest that's a real killer is the dunk that actually gets set up and goes through is probably between 5 and 7 seconds, right? And then it's the showmanship, then it's the waiting for the judges, then it's the setup and the introduction for the next person. And I think there's a real flow issue with the dunk contest as well. So even even that structured sense of having a competition of, okay, this is the round where everyone has to do something with their legs, at least there's no setup, at least in between each player. I don't know.
I
There's got to be, it's a flow issue, I
I
think.
I feel that I don't know. Here's a question that just popped in my head. Like I'm talking about like 20 years ago. Was there always four contestants, or did there used to be more in the field in the dunk contest? I'm talking about 90s or 80s sort of thing. I'm just curious. Like, because I guess one of the ideas on Dunk League is that there's obviously more dunkers. They're obviously making a whole series of it. They got to make a runtime for their show. And I guess again, opening it up. I guess you alluded to the point of keeping NBA players in the dunk contest. Okay, so what if you went four NBA players, and you make an argument, is Mac McClung necessarily an NBA player? I guess he technically is right now, yeah. But I guess so. You're talking about NBA or G League, and then bring in four international competitors. So now you got that sort of element again of another competitive side note there. Are these NBA pro dunkers going to able to elevate their dunks to win it, or is maybe another dunker out there going to actually show them up? I don't know. There's obviously many ways you can mix this format up, but I think more dunks, more creative dunks, is probably the way to go. More so than look, I'm going to say it's a little bit gimmicky to sort of set people challenges in how you're going to try and dunk it.
I think not to attach the idea, so I'm happy that we're workshopping it. In real time, I'm like, could you do two East representatives, two West representatives, two G League representatives, and then two international representatives, or external to the league? And then you've got 8 people dunking, and maybe they're in teams, right? So there's a combined score aspect. They are the ones that set each other up, but you've just got to figure out a way to spark some competition, right? Because currently all it is you're getting scores. And the other thing maybe we've talked about this, maybe we haven't, but dunking is subjective, right? So 3-point contest, it's easy. Ball goes through. That's a point. Whereas dunk contests get very subjective. We do commonly have the best dunker win the contest, but what is the scoring system, right? So like this year, everything was a 46 and above. But some of those dunks personally don't inspire us. Do they need to
Yep.
drop it down to like a 1 out of 5 ratio? But there's got to be a willingness to rebrand it, because what's kind of happened with All Star Saturday is the dunk contest is now really like a rising stars, most improved, obscure player opportunity for publicity. And your 3-point contest actually has your high caliber names, right? We've got Dame Lillard, Jason Tatum, both being in the 3-point contest. And in previous years, you've had Devin Booker and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Like, that's where big names are. And then Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine are probably the biggest names that have been in the dunk contest in a good while. And you could make a case and say Zach LaVine's the only one that's actually been an all-star and had a max contract, but he didn't have those concurrently to being in the dunk contest. So, if we are going to have to keep having not lower tier competitors, but I guess less well known, then you've got to revamp it. And even if it does just involve adding a fifth or a sixth contestant, it just law of averages, right? More dunking should mean we should see something cool.
Well, I think more dunking from the right dunkers. That's the key though, right? You know, we're not trying to just rope in any sort of I don't know, 10th man that's coming, you know, getting 5 minutes a game on the bench. Like who the hell is Jericho Sims? Seriously. Like you know, until he got into the dunk contest this year was, you know, invited up. Like, you know, I reckon three-quarters of NBA fans would be who does he even play for? All right, so I think that's the thing. So if you get the right dunkers into the contest, you're going to get a high quality dunk. But you know, the more dunkers you in there, and they're not the right sort of selections, then it's just going to be a long period.
Well, Jericho Sims is a sophomore, and he's currently getting 16 minutes for the New York Knicks.
Oh,
So now
oh,
you know.
now I know.
Uh,
Jeez.
but yeah, with averages of 3 points and basically 5 rebounds, yeah, not doing a lot. So there you go. There's your Jericho Sims trivia as well for anyone who's wondering.
Yo, this is Two Guys with Spare Time. I'm Faz, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist and giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.